All right, looks like we're live. I'm gonna check Facebook.
Cool.
All right, we're all set. Excellent. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for our Network Welcome, our Westy Live. I'm Jamie Chavez. I'm President and CEO of the Westminster Chamber of Commerce. And every Wednesday, we bring to you a live broadcast featuring one of our newest chamber members to introduce them and give them a chance to talk to you about their business. So if you're new to the broadcast, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Encourage you to like our Facebook page, and then you will get notifications for when we go live in the future. If you're on YouTube, you can hit subscribe, and you can also explore all of our previous broadcasts there as well. On Mondays, we offer broadcasts that are dedicated to city updates from our councilors, mayor pro tem, mayor, and other city officials. So we hope that you tune in for those as well to see what's going on down at City Hall. And then we also do monthly broadcasts with representatives or with commissioners from both Jefferson and Adams County. So stay tuned for those as well. As you watch the broadcast this morning, please feel free to engage with us. Drop any questions, comments, or say hello in the comment section. We'll get to those during the interview. Excuse me. And now, finally, a warm welcome to Dr. Jacob Burchell with NorthStar Chiropractic. How are you today?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. We will just jump right in with you giving us kind of an introduction to yourself and to your business.
Yeah. So again, my name is Dr. Jacob Burchell with NorthStar Chiropractic. I'm located just on the south side of Broomfield, so just right in the middle of that Westminster border. I'm born and raised native of Broomfield, went to Broomfield High School, grew up just north of there, played hockey at Highland Hills over at the Promenade. So been a big part of my life has been right here in Westminster. After I graduated chiropractic school in 2021, I immediately opened up my own practice here with NorthStar Chiropractic, and have been loving that ever since. Really excited to be back in this community, and especially with ties throughout Broomfield and Westminster, just really excited to get back and serve this entire community.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your journey. What inspired you to become a chiropractor and then open your own business?
Yeah, absolutely. As many of us in the health industries kind of have, everybody kind of has their own stories. And one of mine was, just as an athlete growing up and seeing how performance and everything was affected in the movement of the body. Kind of a longer story short, I actually was an engineer before a chiropractor. And so I got used to mechanics of materials, and I switched that over to the body mechanics and that physiology. One of the things that really kind of inspired me to kind of go this route was just the service and getting everybody as healthy as I could, because I saw how much I benefited of it and how much my life improved. So, back when I was playing football at Broomfield High School, I had Dr. Coach Aver adjust me back when I didn't really even know what chiropractic was. I thought I was dying, but he adjusted me. I played 2 days later, starting center. And it was one of those things where it really was an eye-opening experience where, I'd never experienced something like chiropractic treatment before. And every health practice has its place, but for me specifically, I saw how quickly and how beneficial it could be, not only for athletes, but people of all ages in the community, not only athletes, desk workers, anything, you name it. And so it's been a really fun journey to come back and decide, hey, I really want to not only continue that for myself, but also give the community that same chance to benefit from chiropractic treatment. And so when I thought about coming back, I realized that I had a really good vision based on my mentors, such as Dr. Coach Aver, that I wanted to serve the community in a way that I was going to appreciate and love. And that all pointed towards being my own boss. It's been very rewarding, be able to connect with each patient on an individual level and, serve them the best that I can on my own terms. And so that really led me to starting that. And here we are back in 2025 from 2021, NorthStar Chiropractic.
Yeah, awesome. So Dave joined us. Good morning, Dave. And Denise is with us this morning. Good morning to both of you. So what sets NorthStar apart from other practices in the area?
People ask that all the time, especially in today's world. We're not in small communities where there's, one of each profession. There's not just like the one butcher down the street and the one, person who does this, that, and the other. And there's certainly not one chiropractor. I will start out by saying there's many great chiropractors in our area, but luckily we have such a large, awesome population that we can serve them well, combined. And I really kind of want to be part of that. As far as the difference that sets NorthStar apart is me. Hopefully that doesn't sound too immodest, but the big difference is just how I go about my business model. A lot of times you may or may not find patients kind of being pushed towards a certain kind of care, scare tactics with imaging, looking at certain things a certain way and having them sign up the first visit. I pride myself on, from my first day back in March of 2021, having it be patient-centered and having it getting back into the hands of the patients. I want them to be self-sufficient and enjoy coming here, but also enjoy what they've gained and putting it to use outside the office. So from day one, it's been patient-centered. It's not cookie cutter. There's not the let's go 64 visits and see how you are after $10,000 or something. It's very simple. We reassess every time. And so we start with a very welcoming attitude where, again, we want you to feel comfortable in here. And really, that's what sets us apart. From day one, you're in control. I give you my professional opinion and show you how we can benefit from it. But really the difference is, again, I want you leaving knowing that eventually you're going to be able to control a lot of these things and be and have the benefits of this outside of the office, and just kind of come back for me to kind of help tune up as life kind of has us stresses and those traumatic moments. And so big difference, again, is just the approach itself with NorthStar.
Got it. What type of patients do you typically work with? Like what conditions are you most commonly trying to treat?
There's the very typical ones. You always hear about neck pain, back pain. But my fun thing is I never really specialized, almost as you would almost think with like a surgeon. Sometimes you have your general practitioners, and that's kind of more where I'm at. I didn't, some surgeons kind of specialize in heart or brain. I've seen patients as young as 2 weeks and 5 days old and as old as 87. I've seen, 90-pound high school athletes, and I've seen 300-pound plus construction workers. So I really work with a whole spectrum of everybody in the community, which has been really rewarding in itself, keeps things fresh. A lot of times it does come in with very typical complaints such as neck pain, back pain. This happened, in this instance a week ago, or this is something that I've been dealing with for 30 years. Really want to assess those. Some of the fun stuff, though, is people realize that we can manage the body, not just in the back and neck. Obviously, as chiropractors, our MO is the spine, but in addition to that, all joints from shoulders, knees, ankles, even the occasional what we call an ear adjustment for whether it's swimmer's ear, looking for TMJ, or things that you wouldn't normally consider. So there's definitely the neck pain, back pain, typical complaints, but the fun thing is that there's a wide variety of benefits as the body moves as a whole, and we have those biomechanics affected by every step we take, every movement we do, and just kind of getting that all in line.
So how does someone know if they could benefit from seeing a chiropractor? Like say they're not having a ton of neck or back pain, are there other indicators that maybe things need to be looked at or adjusted, or that you can help them?
Absolutely. Some of my favorite patient types are the ones that realize that there is that benefit even when you're not in pain. I even tell my current patients that, again, it is up to you, just like I said earlier. We want to have that control in your hands, but I always recommend getting in and getting treatment before you need it. And what I mean by that is a lot of times we wait for when we're in pain. By the time we're in pain, there's been something that's already wrong, and our body's finally had enough inflammation, enough compensation, enough to the point now we're actually in pain, and we have to kind of work back out of that. It can take longer. Even when somebody's not in pain, if we're looking for better performance in sports, more range of motion in general, many of my patients come in with a common complaint at the very beginning of treatment, but they continue routine treatment throughout the course of years or even their life just to continue the benefits and kind of manage those symptoms and just rehab. We look at professional athletes athletes that are rehabbing and practicing all the time, every day. Many of us think we don't need any kind of upkeep because we're not playing these things. But again, whether it's stress mentally, physically, from just things that we do every single day, those are going to start to add up. And as long as we keep all the neurological signals from our brain unimpeded, using chiropractic adjustments, anybody, whether they're in pain or not, can benefit. And I say, the best thing to do is, instead of having some expensive consult, I'm more than happy to talk to anybody about it. I'm very passionate about my job, and I love seeing the results I get, whether it's somebody who hasn't been able to stand up without pain for 30 years, or somebody who just wants to look over their left shoulder at their kid in the back seat without doing like the Batman turn. So it's very fun, just kind of regardless. And it's kind of easy to get on a tangent there.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So you mentioned a neurological approach to chiropractic care. Can you explain maybe what that means for some of our viewers that don't know what that might mean?
Absolutely. So especially as chiropractors, people think of us as, the bone doctors, the crackers. Sometimes, actually many times, I tell my patients, I don't care about sounds. Unfortunately, just as with every profession, there are things that get put out there in social media and kind of almost like as a fad. And we want to have the satisfaction of, you might have seen, a younger person on YouTube with a microphone right next to their back getting a massive glow stick crack. And you're like, oh, that's so satisfying. And while it's satisfying, that's not the point. The entire point of chiropractic is to, again, release those inhibitions, make sure there's not as much compensation, make sure we have the correct motion and function, not only our joints, but everything they're attached to. So the rest of the soft tissues, whether it's muscles, joints, ligaments, tendons, and again, having those nerves be able to communicate with the rest of our body so we don't have pain, so we don't have issues and inflammation. And so as far as the neurological approach, we have our brain, and we have our brain stem, which goes down through the spine. And so when we get those things moving, oftentimes my job is to get the spine moving so it doesn't impede or affect those symptoms and those signals from our brain. A lot of times that gets seen by the patient who's laying down. It's like, well, there's just pressure and there's a noise on my back. Anybody who's been to high school has had a friend of theirs pick them up and you get a big crack in their back. Like I said, I don't care about the noise. That's the medical term is called a cavitation, some gas escaping from the joint. In reality, though, what happens when we adjust that nerve and we restore that motion and function, that's what we want out of a chiropractic adjustment. So there's a big difference as far as the specificity and the intentionality of a chiropractic adjustment from a trained professional, rather than just, maybe cracking your fingers or having your buddy pick you up and experiencing some kind of pop in your back. So there's a big difference, big benefit to this specific nature of chiropractic.
Awesome. Thank you. So when you're working with patients, do you educate them on the connection between the spine and the nervous system and just kind of overall health?
If they let me. A lot of times I think it's one of those things where, I can nerd out quite a bit if I given the chance. And oftentimes patients want to simply move better, feel better, be in less pain, and they don't really care how it happens. I do pride myself on a big part of my approach being patient education. A lot of times that will come in a simpler, straightforward manner. If somebody's very curious, I'm like, oh, this is fun. And we can go down that route of exactly what is affecting what. Patient education, though, like I said, is part of my approach. That's part of the entire benefit of the care. Instead of coming in here and thinking that you have to be reliant on Dr. Birchall for the rest of your life, we can get the process started and help your body heal itself to the point where, again, the frequency of visits and the need for it goes down over time. So really, it's just like your car. If we take great care of our car, it's like, oh, well, I get an oil change every now and then. It's not that big of a deal. But if we let our car go into the ground, they're going to need it for 2 months in the shop, and it's going to cost a lot of money. And so with patient education, instructing people not only from the first visit, but even, many visits down the road, if they seek routine care, is just going to be beneficial, because that's when they get into this self-dependence. That's when they see the benefit of, hey, this is how I move. I start to be self-aware of some of those cues of like, oh, if I do this, I might experience this. If this happens, I can, I can use some belly breathing. I can do different things to self-manage that. I don't have to be reliant, and I don't have to be scared if I can't get into Dr. Birchall until next week. And so patient education, I think, is not only crucial, but also a very big benefit to my patients. And also, I just love to see it happen.
Awesome. Thank you. So what are some things that our viewers can do to support like better spinal or neurological health, like especially if they're sitting at a desk all day?
Yeah, absolutely. There's kind of going back to the fads of nowadays and social media. You have a bunch of products and different things that, as always, are run and influenced by how much money can be made by somebody selling a product or an idea. A lot of times that comes with, ergonomic desks and this kind of specific equipment for working out. To simplify it down to the basic need for the average person, movement is medicine. It's corny, it's cringy, I've heard it a million times, but it is true. As we move, especially for my people that work at a desk, if we sit in the same way forever, it's going to affect us in a very certain way. We don't need to overextend our back and wear those things that you cinch up and you see straighten your posture, because then we don't actually use our muscles. We want to be able to move. I tell people all the way, there's many times I'm at night, I'm sitting back, I have bad posture. The difference is again, with somebody who's not going to experience pain a lot or work their way out of it, is that self-awareness. Even if you're sitting at a desk, maybe every 45 minutes, maybe every 30, maybe every 2 hours, we have a set time where we don't have to do a regimented exercise routine or something where you're like, that sounds way too hard. It could be as simple as getting up, touching our toes, doing some stretch, getting back to it. A lot of the other stuff comes down to the healthy things that we know are healthy as a society. We just, as a whole, we don't like to admit it and adhere to those guidelines. Simple things is getting a walk, eating healthy 80% of the time. There's a lot of things, again, not just physically, but mentally, having a good mental state, having good relationships, putting good fuel. So food, what we drink, and again, it's not something where I like to preach, oh, you got to be perfect. Everybody's got their vices, but again, that a majority of the time when we have these healthy habits, it leads to healthy movement and it leads to healthier bodies, which again, when we have healthy movement bodies, it's really hard to have pain in that equation. So all those basic ones where it doesn't get down to a regimented, oh, you're going to have to change your lifestyle 100%. It's like, no, we make those small changes one at a time and they lead, and all of a sudden you blink and all of a sudden it's like, hey, I know exactly how to do this and how to avoid needing the painful care right at the start.
Yeah, definitely. So someone who's in kind of that health and wellness industry, taking care of people, what is one piece of health advice that you wish everyone took seriously?
Ooh. That's a good one. Start now. And what I mean by that is it doesn't mean start with me. Sometimes we can get in a mental state of like, oh, this would have been great if I, started my better nutrition 10 years ago. It would have been better if I didn't do this last week. All that's behind us, whether it's seeing me, whether it's taking a walk with the dog, whether it's, not eating, McDonald's and substituting it with, something healthier for lunch. Always be ready to take that one step and start right now. There's nothing we can do what we did in the past. And, people are like, oh, that's a really good slogan for coming in to see you. I'm like, yes, chiropractic can be a great benefit. I highly encourage everybody to seek that benefit. But again, whatever the step is, I just say start now. I think a lot of times I tell people it's like, whether it's with me or somebody else, I want your health to be the number one priority. And so if that means seeking out a certain professional or a certain referral, or even just a simple piece of advice for yourself to kind of get started on day one, start now.
Awesome. Thank you. So if you have a new patient, someone walks in through the door for the first time, what can they expect?
Same as the rest of it, I like to keep things very simple. So it's very streamlined and everybody can do things exactly at their own pace from even before they walk in. So even scheduling a new patient, you don't have to call in and wait for a call back and have us seek out a good time that fits for you. Right on our website, NorthStarChiropractic.com. You can go on and schedule your own appointment. in 10 seconds, 24/7. So number one, it starts there. Totally up to you. When you come in, we already have the paperwork electronically done, so you don't have to squint at tiny letters and waste 15 minutes in a waiting room. Oftentimes, whatever time it is, say 11 a.m., if your appointment's at 11 a.m., we're probably getting started right at 11 a.m. and your paperwork's already done. I have a good idea of where we're going. We're going to start with a consult. Again, everybody's individual. I have, however many back pain patients, but her patient or her pain is different from his. And so as we kind of go through that, we start with that consultation. Based on my findings and what we talk about, we're going to move into an exam. Most of the time it's brief. We want to make sure I know what I'm looking at and not skipping over anything important, which can be a wide spectrum of things, not just from, what physically happened last week when we fell off the stair, but, how have we been living? What do we consume? What's going to affect how we respond to the treatment? Following the consultation, a brief exam, we go into the first adjustment. After all of that, at the end, I kind of give my recommendations as far as a care plan, kind of what I found during the exam and during the adjustment, and make those recommendations from there for follow-up or, again, self-care at home, patient education. The fun thing with that is on average, that's going to take just about 30 minutes. So even a new patient exam, from consultation, walking in the door, all the way to you're done and walking out, is only about half an hour for the average patient. And so not only is it quick, but it's very easy. And again, the benefits and the personal attention being individualized and not going the cookie cutter route, that's kind of how our approach is. And it's, like I said, it's very, very fun not to waste too much time, especially during a weekday.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure people appreciate that. So how do you personalize care plans for each individual, especially when people have such different lifestyles and stressors and health histories?
Oh, absolutely. The big thing is, again, it starts with the consultation. If I had people come in, lay down, number one, if we go straight to adjustment, that's a whole other conversation. That's not good. That's not what we want. It starts in the consultation. So I got to see what you're doing physically every day, what you may have done to injure yourself, or how something started. Again, there's aspects where it's not just physical. It's, again, mental, the stresses that we put on. I have had many people where it's like, well, can you think of anything that has led to this? And they can't say. I'm like, okay, well, walk me through your week. And they're like, well, I just had to write a 30-page paper for grad school. My dog died. We're doing some things, moving around with my parents. And I was like, okay, so you have 3 major stressors. And that's just an example. We have to take a look at the entire picture and kind of see what's going to happen. And like you said, I have, mechanics for airlines that they choose to come in every week, where I have other people you think might need more treatment that come in every month because that fits their lifestyle. So we have to mix and compromise between what I'm going to recommend and your lifestyle. So if there's some people that, hey, I can afford that, I can do that, I can afford that time in my day where I take an extra 20 seconds and I stand up from my desk. Other people are like, I'm working a 10-hour shift, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and I have no time to even think about it. So I take that into consideration. When we make those care plans, we reassess every visit. We make sure that not only the treatment inside the office, but also the self-care outside and how your day-to-day can be affected in small, one-step ways can be realistic and personalized for every patient.
Awesome. Thank you. And then what are some misconceptions that you think people have about chiropractic care?
Oh, that's a long list. I'd say there's some culprits just from popular social media happenings. People think that, if there's not a pop, there's not a benefit. Well, all I have to say to that is ask all the patients that it might not make a sound, but see how much progress and how good they feel. Other times, people talk about some more of the serious things that they've heard, such as, is there an association with chiropractic treatments and stroke? Very serious things that people, might get scared of. They see a towel being wrapped around people's heads on YouTube and then just a big jerk. And it's very scary. Some people have had their spouse not want to come in because they're scared that I would do that. I won't. Much more careful and specific and medically on it than that. So with some of those things, we really have to address it again individually. If somebody has a worry about that, I have no problem taking our time addressing those concerns, and kind of putting to bed some of those misconceptions, as you said, because I don't want people to have those, especially when the more comfortable they are in the treatment room, the better they're going to react anyways. And so some of those things being put to bed as far as, miscalculated misconceptions, things that are associated with treatment that actually are not the fault of the treatment itself, that are just already in place. And realistically, just talking with each patient individually about those concerns. But again, some of those ones, whether it's the medical serious or just I'm not going to get benefit unless I hear a massive glow stick crack, those are probably the biggest ones, along with some of those YouTube fads. So I just say, look out for those. And again, if you ever have questions, I'd be more than happy to explain.
Awesome. Do you have any stories that either you have permission or they're just kind of generalized of patients who've experienced major life improvements through care, through chiropractic care?
Oh yeah, that's actually my favorite part of the job. Sometimes it's a simple. I haven't seen a patient who moved away to college and I haven't seen him for 6 months, and they come in, they're like, oh my gosh, I just feel so much better. It can be as simple as that. Like, oh yeah, I can turn my head again. One of my favorites is that I had a career waitress who, 30 plus years as a waitress, bending down. She got to the point where she couldn't stand up, and just had a friend finally tell her that she needed to try chiropractic. I was blessed enough to be the chiropractor that she ended up coming to. And it was comical only once you understand the end. She started crying, and I was worried that the people in the lobby were going to take that negatively. Luckily, what happened was we adjusted her and she stood up off the table, and then she sat back down, stood back up, and she did about 4 of those and then just broke down into tears because she hasn't been able to do that without pain in, I think it was like 15 years. And then luckily for me, she went to the lobby after that and she's like, I don't know if anybody heard me crying. Those were good tears. It did not hurt me. I just haven't been able to do this and explain the situation. And so when I see patients that, whether they haven't been able to do something for this long, or they've been worried about making a movement or getting down on the floor to play with their grandkids, or there's so many stories and success that, sometimes I wish I could always do it immediately. Other times, again, we'll talk about it. We do a plan of care, but when that happens and you see that light bulb go off where they're like, I can do this without pain, or I can sit down without worrying if I'm going to collapse. That's what just makes it so easy to come into work every single day, because you see those quite often. That one sticks out, but there's so many, but we don't have time for that.
That's awesome. No, thank you for that. We have just a couple minutes. Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you would like people to know about NorthStar or about you?
I kind of want to just circle back to the very beginning. I've been so appreciative. I joined the chamber back in January. I kind of been kicking myself. I don't know why it took me so long, but it's so great. Like I said, from hockey at the Promenade and just growing up right here, living right here on these streets, it's been so good to not only experience all these benefits that I've been talking about for myself and the community, to be back in it, surrounded by the business owners and everybody who cares so much for everybody, especially in the Westminster Chamber. I just want to say thank you. It's been a grateful 6 months so far. I look forward to continuing to working with not only other great health practitioners in the chamber and the community, but also the rest. It makes it very easy to have that great connection. People are, trusting and loyal, and they don't have to go seek out, random reviews on different sites. They can see somebody they trust within the Westminster Chamber, whether it's me referring to somebody else or somebody referring to me. And it's just so great to have a community not have to be worried or scared. They know exactly where they need to go, whether it's chiropractic treatment, auto care, or you name it. And it's great. And I just wanted to say thank you to you guys.
Oh, well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I'm going to post your website here so people know where they can reach you. If you'd like to have a number listed, I can do that as well. But this way people know how to reach out to you and seek out your services.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us today, and thanks for everybody who watched live, and everyone enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks so much, Dr. Birchall.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.